Hello, I'm Nate Robinson, and I will be giving a presentation in this video about the Eastern Pequot Tribal Nation. This is for a class at Columbia University, where I attend, called the Native Northeast, offered by the American Studies Department. So in this presentation, I will be focusing on the Eastern Pequot Tribal Nation's quest for federal recognition, some general historical background on the tribal nation, in addition to some contemporary developments. So as you can see on the right-hand side, the location of the Eastern Pequot Reservation is in the southeast corner of the state of Connecticut, which is adjacent to the state of Rhode Island. In the town of North Stonington, their reservation is called Lantern Hill. That's the spot where they have their official reservation, which is about 224 acres in size. So Providence, Rhode Island is about 43 miles to the north. New Haven, Connecticut is a little further away, though. It's about 61 miles to the south. New York City is 142 miles away. And Uncasville, Connecticut, the home of the federally recognized Mohegan and Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation, is only 13 miles away, situated in the same area of Connecticut in the southeastern region. As many of you know, the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation and the Mohegans run the two big casinos in Connecticut, Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods. The Eastern Pequot Tribal Nation has deep roots in the region. Its reservation at Lantern Hill was officially established in 1683, making it one of the oldest continuously occupied indigenous reservations in the United States. The tribe descends from Pequot people who survived the violent Pequot War of 1637, in which an alliance of Massachusetts Bay, Plymouth, and Saybrook colonists, joined by Narragansett and Mohegan tribe allies, defeated the Pequots in a decisive conflict. The surviving Pequot members after the war stayed in their ancestral area despite centuries of colonial pressure. Today, the Eastern Pequots are recognized by the state of Connecticut, and even institutions like Yale University recognize them in official land acknowledgments as one of the indigenous peoples of the state. As we all know, I'm sure, federal recognition and state recognition confer very different statuses for tribes. The Eastern Pequots have state recognition, meaning, of course, in this case, Connecticut acknowledges them as a tribe, and they hold a reservation granted in colonial times. However, federal recognition is needed to establish a more formal government-to-government relationship with the United States, like the Mohegan tribe has with the federal government. Federally recognized tribes enjoy rights and benefits that state-recognized tribes do not, including tribal sovereignty, eligibility for federal funding and services for such things as education, healthcare, and housing, in addition to the ability to have lands held in trust by the United States government. Federal status can also permit economic ventures like casinos, such as what goes on in Uncasville, Connecticut, which I just discussed, under federal law. So I guess we can say that state recognition kind of affirms a tribe's presence, but federal recognition is what unlocks crucial resources and political stand-in for a tribal nation. Here's a snapshot or a timeline of the Eastern Pequot Tribal Nation's long journey toward federal recognition, dating back to 1978. In 1978, the tribe first submitted its petition to a federal bureau called the Bureau of Indian Affairs, an agency founded in 1824 by then Secretary of War and former U.S. Vice President John C. Calhoun. After decades of review, they were finally granted recognition federally in 2002, but that was short-lived. Just 3 years later, in 2005, the Department of the Interior reversed the decision, citing internal divisions and political pressure from within the state of Connecticut and its officials. Then in 2015, a new rule made things even worse for the Eastern Pequot Nation, put in place by the U.S. Department of the Interior. It blocked tribes from repetitioning if they had already been denied recognition, effectively slamming the door shut on them. This again changed in 2025 when the Department of the Interior finalized a new rule allowing tribes like the Eastern Pequots to repetition, but only under very limited conditions. So these conditions include, number one, substantive federal policy change. The tribe can show that a significant change in federal policy after the denial affects the basis of the original decision. Secondly, new previously unavailable evidence is something that is also part of this new provision for repetitioning. The tribe can present new evidence that wasn't reasonably available at the time of the original petition. This could include such things as historical records, genealogical data, or expert findings that strengthen the case. And finally, procedural error in the original review. The tribe must demonstrate that the Bureau of Indian Affairs or Department of the Interior made a clear procedural error during the original process, one serious enough that it affected the outcome. It's pretty evident that political opposition has been the toughest hurdle in the Eastern Pequot's recognition journey. Connecticut's government at both state and federal levels has consistently fought against new tribal recognitions. In the early 2000s, after the Eastern Pequots won recognition, the state's U.S. senators even introduced legislation to impose a moratorium on all new federal recognitions. Around the same time, Connecticut legislators debated rescinding state recognition for several tribes, including the Eastern Pequot. The stated reasons were fear of far-reaching impacts. Officials warned that new federally recognized tribes could revive old land claims, open additional casinos, and remove land from local tax rolls, which they argued would, quote, wreak havoc on the state. Over the years, figures like Senator Richard Blumenthal became vocal opponents. Blumenthal celebrated when rules were tightened to prevent second chances for tribes denied in the past. This political resistance, driven by economic and political interests, I think illustrates how recognition decisions can hinge not just on a tribe's merits, but on external pressures and lobbying. Despite political setbacks, the Eastern Pequot people have maintained a distinct community and culture for centuries. After the Mystic Massacre of 1637, during the Pequot War, a group of survivors eventually coalesced in what became Eastern Connecticut. In 1683, the colony granted these people the Lantern Hill Reservation, where Eastern Pequot families have lived ever since. Throughout the colonial and early American periods, the tribe survived through farming, maritime work, and by forming alliances with other native and some English neighbors. They had overseers assigned by the state in the 18th and 19th centuries, but they persisted as a community with their own leaders and traditions. Culturally, the Eastern Pequots share many traditions with other Algonquian tribes of New England, from annual seasonal feasts to crafts like basket making and wampum adornment. Today, they take pride in their heritage by holding an annual powwow on the reservation and engaging in efforts to preserve their stories and language. This historical endurance of the Eastern Pequot tribal nation demonstrates the continuity of the tribe's identity, which I feel reinforces their fight for acknowledgement in the present. In the 21st century, the Eastern Pequot tribal nation remains a vibrant community, though one also facing modern challenges. The tribe has approximately 1,200 enrolled members, but only about 16 families reside on the 224 or so acre reservation at any given time. Many members live elsewhere in Connecticut or beyond, yet maintain ties through regular gatherings and council meetings. Without federal recognition, the tribe lacks access to many funding sources and programs This has translated into struggles in areas like education, healthcare, and economic development. We want to take care of our own people, and we can't do that under the current conditions, as one tribal council member explained in an article I read, noting that tribal youth miss out on scholarships and services that federally recognized tribes receive. Despite these obstacles, the Eastern Pequots are resilient. They operate community initiatives such as community gardens to promote food security and an archaeological partnership to explore and protect their historical sites. And they continue to lobby for their rights. The tribe's leaders, all of whom serve as volunteers, work tirelessly to keep the community united. Their present-day focus is on cultural preservation, holding events like heritage days and traditional ceremonies, and pursuing federal recognition so that future generations can thrive on their ancestral lands. Thank you very much for watching.